Hello there. My name is Jonathan, and today we're going to go over how to integrate mlflow with Run AI. So let's get started. First, we're going to quickly review mlflow, like at a very high level. So what is needed for mlflow to run? There's two things besides, the actual software of mlflow. We need a database to store information related to the experiments, and then we also need an artifact folder to store objects related to the runs. In terms of how mlflow actually works, well, first we have to start the server with the CLI command, and running either of these will work. What's nice is that when you run these, if you don't specify anything and no database exists in the directory, it will automatically create that database for you. Alternatively, you can actually specify what database you want to use and where your artifact folder is going to be. You can also determine the host IP and port and a couple of other arguments when you start the server. And the second thing is we want to call mlflow commands from within our Python script. So basically, we'll want to make sure we import mlflow, and then this is the important part. We have to set the tracking URI to make sure that we can connect to that mlflow server so that we can actually log all of our information. We're going to start a run with your code, and then at the very end, you're just going to end your run. So how are we going to integrate this with Run AI? We need two things as well. We need a persistent directory to keep track of our mlflow database and mlflow artifacts folder. We can do it if it's not persistent, but we want to be able to have a record of all of the experiments that we've run, so we want to make sure it's persistent. And two, we need a Docker image that has mlflow installed, and also Jupyter Server Proxy. The only reason we've got that is so that we can actually access the UI. So the first step is to create an mlflow folder on our NFS. So this is what my structure looks like now. This is mainly where I work from. I've got a data folder, and then I've got a projects folder underneath that or within this directory. So that's my NFS. And then this is the default folder structure of Jupyter. We start in the Javian directory, and there's always this work directory. So when we create a job, we have to specify our specific NSF folder, and we also want to specify that we want to mount it on the work directory of the Jupyter image. In our particular example, this has to be the same. This can change, right? You can mount any directory you want, but this must be the same just for this particular example. And so once we mount our NFS onto the Jupyter instance, onto the job, it's going to look like this. Under work, we're going to have my data folder and my projects folder. And then we're just going to use the Jupyter Lab UI to create this mlflow folder. And what that will do is that will create the mlflow folder in my NFS. So let's go ahead and do that really quick. We're going to go to jobs. We want to submit a job. And I'm just going to use the base notebook here. But what is important is this storage. We want to make sure we've got this volume here with my NFS path and the work directory. So let's just go ahead and submit that. And we'll just wait for that to finish. Let's go ahead and connect. And then within my work directory, here's my data and my projects folder. And we just want to go ahead and create a new directory called mlflow. And that is it. We can actually go ahead and delete this job. All right. And then the second thing is the Docker image. So in our example, I created this Docker image called mlflow UI. It's available publicly if you want to look at it, but this is basically what the Docker file looks like. We're going to start with an image that's got Jupyter Server Proxy already installed. And then we want to install mlflow and also install get because it's needed by mlflow. And then this is important. We have to create a new configuration file for Jupyter and replace the one that's in the base image. And this is the entry that we have to add so that we can actually connect to the UI. So it's this c.serverproxy.server. And under this command entry, we're going to put in all of the arguments that we need for our server to start. And the important thing is this: we have to specify the location of the mlflow database and artifacts. And notice that they're under javn work and that mlflow directory that we just created. We have to make sure that the server starts on this IP and port for our example to work. And of course, the last thing is we need to tell Jupyter that the port is going to be 5000. And the way to access the mlflow UI is very similar. We have to create an interactive job. We have to specify this image that we created, and we have to make sure we mount our folders. And then, of course, I like to go into the work directory and make sure that my mlflow folder is actually there. But once I do that, I can actually just select the mlflow launcher button, and a new tab should start with the UI. So let's give that a try. So I'll go here, and we're going to go mlflow UI, and the storage container, or the storage, I should say, volume. Once again, my NFS and the target path here. So I'll just submit that. And we'll just wait for this to start up. We'll connect. And let's just make sure, yep, there's our mlflow directory. And then I can just click the mlflow button here. And this will take a second. But here we are. This is the mlflow UI. Okay. And then, of course, when we actually run experiments with Run AI, because we use CLI, we want to send jobs, and we want to make sure that we, keep track of those experiments correctly. So within your Python script, we've got to do a couple things. So one, because each job creates its own individual image, we have to make sure that our script actually launches the mlflow server. So this is the shell command to start the server, and we're going to use popen to actually launch or run this command, and then we're going to wait 5 seconds just to give it some time to actually start up, give the server time to start up. And then we want to make sure that we set our tracking URI with mlflow. And then in terms of the CLI submission, our example scripts are located here under the projects folder and mlflow directory. I can show you that really quick. So if we go to projects, mlflow demo, you'll see that I've got the scripts over here. And so if I want to submit these from the CLI, this is the command I would use. I'd use run AI submit, specify the project, GPUs, and then a prefix. And here's the important part. We want to specify that mlflow UI image. We have to make sure that we're mounting the NFS to the work directory. And then finally here, we're just going to, so we have work projects, mlflow demo, work projects, mlflow demo, and then the actual Python script. And that's how you do it. So essentially, we're going to run the CLI command. We're going to see a new job appear on the UI, or on our Run AI UI. And then we're just going to wait for it to finish. And then we can, of course, see the updates on mlflow once we refresh. So let's go ahead and try that out. So over here, I've got 3 commands corresponding to our 3 Python scripts here. And you notice the only difference is 1, 2, and 3. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy paste all of these and submit them. Here's 1. That's the second one. Here is the 3rd one. Perfect. And if we go here, we will notice that, oh, here they are, our jobs. Demo 0, demo 1, 0, 1, and 2. And so we'll just keep going until these finish. And it looks like they're done. And yes, 0, 1, and 2, they're all successful. And so now we can just go back to our UI. We can refresh this UI here. And we'll notice that our test project, here's 2 of the entries here. This is run 1, run 3. And then run 2 has actually created a new project. And if we go into these, we can see that our parameters have been reported, the tags that we wanted have been reported, and our artifact storage was successful. Here's the plot. And that's how you do it. Thank you so much.